Valued students, we have seen the work calculation in the previous discussion. Now we will use the work to make a valuation of a project. In the capital budgeting chapter, most of the time we were using the cost of equity for making the valuation of the project, like NPV or maybe any discounted payback period, whatever, wherever the cost of capital is required. Sometimes we use the cost of equity if there is no debt, because without debt the work is equal to cost of equity. But if there is debt, like General Electricals, we have seen there is debt, preferred, and common stock. In that case, the work will not be the same as cost of equity. We use the work for making the valuation of the projects. How the valuation principle is the same for all methods, like it is the present value of future cash flows. When we calculate the NPV, what we do? We do the FCF 0, which is normally in minus, then FCF 1 divided by 1 plus walk to the power 1, FCF 2 divided by 1 plus walk to the power 2, plus FCF 3 divided by 1 plus walk to the power 3. Basically, all the free cash flows we get in different years, we make the present value. And if in the spreadsheet you put it and get the NPV and IRR and all these things, if they are not well distributed over timeline, not yearly, then you use the X NPV or X IRR as we discussed in the capital budgeting. Now, let us take an example here. Suppose Answer Boots in Beverage is considering introducing a new ultralight beer with 0 calories and 0 alcohol to be called Bud Zero. So there is no alcohol, there is no calorie, and the company wants to develop a beer in that. Fruit beer might be. The firm believes that the beer's flavor and appeal to calorie conscious drinkers will make it a big success. The cost of bringing the beer to market is 200 million. But AB InWave expects the first year incremental free cash flow from Bud Zero to be 100 million, and it will grow at 3% thereafter. If AB InWave's WACC is 5.7%, should it go ahead with the project or it should cancel? It should reject the project. So now there are 2 3 things we have to see here. The company wants to develop a new product which is alcohol free, calorie free, and because of these two qualities, the conscious drinker, calorie conscious, alcohol conscious drinkers will make it a success. Now, that is the story. But the main thing as a finance graduate, what we have to see, how much it will cost. The initial cost will be 200 million. So FCF 0 is minus 200 million company has to invest. All right. But if the company invests minus $200 million right now, this project will give 100 million free cash flow from year 1, and it will grow at a normal rate of 3% thereafter. WACC is 5.7%. Very simple. In dividend discount model, what formula we were using? Constant growth. WACC is higher, growth is lower. That means it's a constant growth, normal growth. The formula we were using D1 divided by K minus G, where D1 is the dividend 1, K is the cost of equity, G is the growth. Here we are using the FCF, free cash flow. So FCF 1 divided by WACC minus G, because it is FCF, so we will use WACC instead of cost of equity and put the formula, get the answer. Minus 200 million is the initial cash outflow. For getting the net present value, we have to make inflow and outflow. Minus 200 is the initial cash outflow, so minus, plus 100 million will be the cash inflow from year 1 thereafter with a 3% growth. That means FCF 1 divided by WACC minus growth. WACC is 5.7%, growth is 3%. So the NPV is equal to 3503.7 million is equal to 3.5 billion. So if the company is investing now 200 million, this project will create a positive NPV of 3.5 billion to the company in future. The Bud Zero project has a positive NPV because it is expected to generate 200 million far in excess of AB's WACC of 5.7%. As discussed in chapter 8, that is capital budgeting, taking positive NPV projects adds value to the farm. So here it is a positive NPV, that too high, 3.5 billion positive NPV. So you must recommend to take this project. So I hope it is clear all of you how we use the WACC. Now for WACC, there are certain key assumptions always we take. What are they? The risk is average. The debt equity ratio is constant. The leverage effect is limited. After a level, the leverage impact will go. So, limited leverage impact, constant debt equity ratio, and average risk. These key assumptions will work only when if a project is in a single industry, if a company is operating in a single industry, this first assumption will work. Otherwise, the risk will not be the same. Average risk will be different because you are in a different industries. Second assumption, debt equity ratio constant. Again, when the company grows faster and faster, bigger and bigger, debt equity ratio cannot be constant. When the company grows larger, debt equity ratio might change. Third, that the leverage impact. Up to a level only the leverage will give the benefit. After that, leverage will become a curse for the company. So it should be kept in mind. So let us go for general electricals. We have the WACC of general electricals and we have all data. Now let us take one project general electricals is truly thinking for. What is that project? Suppose General Electrical is considering an investment that would extend the life of one of its chemical facilities for 4 years. The project would require upfront cost of 6.67 million plus 24 million investment in equipment. Dear students, you see General Electrical has invested long back in 2010 or 2011 and in general in Sabik. So Sabik G Blast. So they have consolidated one. Before that, they might have done all this kind of analysis when they are investing in a different industry, in a different company, General Electrical in one industry, Sabik in another industry. So how they will go through all this kind of analysis experts do with all kind of scenario analysis. So let us see one here. The project would require upfront cost of 6.67 million. That means minus 6.67 million is the upfront right now. Plus 24 million investment in equipment. The 6.67 million will be the sunk cost. Sunk cost means we have seen in the capital budgeting, sunk cost means the cost which are incurred before the project starts. And like project for research and development cost for a vaccine, for a pharmaceutical company for developing a vaccine. Here now 24 million additional required for buying an equipment. These are the costs to be associated with the project right now. The equipment will be obsolete in 4 years. That is, depreciation will be done in 4 years straight line method. During the next 4 years, however, General Electrical expects annual sales of 60 million per year from these facilities. If it invests in this chemical facility, that will give additional sales of 60 million. Again, capital budgeting came here, dear students. And material cost and operating expenses are 25 million are the material cost, 9 million is thus SGA, selling general and administrative expenses or operating expenses. GE expects no net working capital requirement, no additional requirement of working capital, and it pays a tax of 35%. Okay, let us do it here already. I think we have done it. Let us see. See, upfront cost is 6.67 million. All right. Sales per year will be 60 million given in the question. Cost of goods sold is 25 million given in the question. Initial capital expenditure, that is the equipment purchase, will be 24 million. Operating SGA will be 9 million a year. Marginal tax rate is 35%. Depreciation will be 24 million will be depreciated in 4 years. Life of the testing equipment is 4 years. Therefore, the depreciation per year will be 6 million. Cost of capital we have calculated before. Where we calculated in R104, we calculated the cost of work. R104, yeah, you see here we calculated the work of General Electricals, which we discussed in the previous slides. The pre-tax CAPM, the beta is given, all this data are given here. The beta is given and the risk-free rate of return is given, and risk premium we calculated the CAPM. Then we calculated cost of preferred by dividend divided by share price, and calculated the cost of debt, that is 1.98%, that is the YTM, and the post tax is calculated for cost of equity. Pre and post are the same. Cost of preferred, pre post same. Cost of debt will be cost of pre-tax cost of debt multiplied by 1 minus tax. Then market capitalization given in the question. We have taken the market capitalization for the equity, preferred and debt, total market capitalization, and the weights are calculated here, right? Weights of equity, weights of preferred, weight of debt. As I said you, preferred is very negligible in the capital structure. So you see here 1.25%. Most of the company, they don't raise preferred. And the work will be equal to cost of equity multiplied by weight of equity plus cost of debt preferred multiplied by weight of preferred plus cost of debt post tax multiplied by weight of debt will give you the cost of equity 6.80. This will be used for calculating the new project. Let us go to the new project, please. Yeah. So cost of the work will be 6.8, and now let us put the timeline here. The same what you have done in the capital budgeting, again we will repeat here. So capital budgeting will be revised here. The incremental revenue is equal to year 0, revenue is 0. Year 1, 2, 3, 4, revenue will be 60 million. And cost of goods sold will be 25 million, and the same will be for next 4 years. Gross profit will be sales minus cost of goods sold is equal to gross profit. SGA 9 million given in the question, and depreciation 6 million, the total equipment cost divided by life, that is 24 million divided by 4, 6 million each year. If it comes here 20 million each. Next is income tax 35% and incremental earning. With the incremental earning, to get the free cash flow, we make 3 adjustments. What are the 3 adjustments? Remember the working capital, remember the capital budgeting again. Chapter 8 capital budgeting, we have discussed that we take chapter 9 capital budgeting. 8 is the methods we discuss, 9 is the higher order discussion. So 9 we have taken. So, but all these things I explained there. First of all, we calculate the incremental earning, then we make adjustment for free cash flow. What are the adjustment? Basically 3, if there is no salvage value. What are the 3 adjustment? Number 1, depreciation addition, add back the depreciation. Number 2, deduct the capital expenditure. Number 3, subtract the changes in net working capital. So here we have just put it, and incremental earnings we put here, incremental earning, add back depreciation, 0, 6 million, 6 million, 6 million and 6 million. Capital expenditure, in the beginning you are spending 24 million, so that will be the capital expenditure. And the net working capital change, in the question it is given there is no need of additional working capital, so it is 0, 0, 0, 0. Then we got the incremental free cash flow, 28.34 minus 19 million, 19, 19 and 19. Now question is, we will calculate the NPV. Using the NPV method, we calculate the NPV of the project. So you see, if the cash flows are not evenly distributed, we use the XNPV. So here evenly distributed yearly. So NPV, first of all, we need the cost of capital. Cost of capital is given here 6.8%. See, there we were using the cost of equity. Here you used the cost of WACC. Then the cash flows from year 1 to year 4 here till the remaining life, bracket close, plus the initial cash outflow will give you the net present value. 36.32 million is the net present value given by the project. So it is giving a kind of profitable, NPV is very profitable, so you should accept. And IRR can also be, you can also calculate the IRR of the project. IRR is equal to, because they are evenly distributed, we will use IRR. So IRR will be equal to from inflow to outflow. Where is that? Yeah. From this, all cash flows from year 0 to till the life. Enter. 56% is the return of the company. So if we are taking, for example, 60%, you see here, if I take the cost of capital as 60%, then I get an NPV of negative, and it is a reject. Why reject? Because I put an if statement here. If the NPV is positive, then only accept. If the NPV is negative, reject. So it said, because NPV is coming minus 1.5, it says reject. IRR always increase the percentage to some extent. 55.621. Let us take 55.621 here. 55.621 here. Let us take this and do it. See, NPV comes 0. What we learned in the IRR discussion? IRR is the rate at which NPV becomes 0. Remember, IRR is the rate at which NPV becomes 0. So what we have done here, we have taken the NPV cost of capital as 55.612, and here also 55.621, sorry. So same rate we have taken here and here, 621, for example, 621 here we have taken. Same rate, if you take NPV, it will give you 0, because IRR is the rate at which NPV gives 0. But the cost of capital here is not the same. Okay, now the cost of capital is equal to, we have calculated down, that we will show as the cost of capital of the company. There is a WACC. 6.80 is the WACC of the company. So if you are taking 6.8, very simple. This is a profitable project because the NPV is 64.65 million. So accept the project. This is what the PowerPoint is telling you. So here is the incremental free cash flow calculated. Then the NPV method is being used. 36.31 million. Therefore, NPV is positive. Accept the project. Summary of WACC. Determine the incremental free cash flow of the investment. Use the WACC for discounting instead of cost of equity. We use the WACC here in the denominator. Compute the value of investment including the tax benefit of leverage by discounting the incremental free cash flows using the WACC. That is what the FCF in the future divided by WACC minus G. So project based cost of capital. Before that, let me take your questions here.